Welcome to Talk Dirt to Me, where two farmers shatter myths and take on the top issues facing America's farmers. Here's your hosts, Logan and Bobby Lee.
What's up?
Yes. Happy Independence Day to everybody.
Yeah, by the time they're listening, it'll be Bobby Lee's got on his Independence shirt.
Yeah. I was like, well, what am I going to throw on?
I still got to get him a birthday present. I'm pretty sure that was a birthday present like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
You did give me this shirt for my birthday. Yeah, for those of you not watching, it's a Hawaiian print, kind of.
But it's very patriotic.
Very patriotic. It's got the American flag on the back, red, white, and blue, and then it has cow heads all over it. So
yeah, I don't even remember where in the hell I got that shirt.
Yeah.
I was like looking, and I was like, man, I was trying to find you something really
I was
awesome.
already planning. I was like, I'm going to wear it to work tomorrow to the vet clinic.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll wear like a Hawaiian shirt on Fridays anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, we're recording on Wednesday tomorrow. So
Casual Friday.
Tomorrow's basically our Friday because obviously Friday is the holiday. I was like, oh yeah, I'm wearing this. And I was like, well, hell, I'm going to wear it tonight for the podcast. So.
Yeah, that is a very good patriotic shirt. Yeah, this is the fourth shirt. That's what I guess in honor. I'm getting some of our for our listeners. I just popped open this Filibuster from our Filibuster Distillery straight bourbon whiskey, and it's weeded bourbon. I'm a fan of weeded bourbon. Yep. Mr. Tim, he hooked us up with this. I've never had this. Have you ever had Filibuster?
I have not. So I've got what did I pour? Woodford Reserve is what I poured.
Okay.
When I left the house. So
it's a safe one to go with.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. I was like, yeah, that's a good one. I'll polish this off. I'll try a little of the Filibuster.
I got a lot of stuff to do tonight. This is 120 proof.
Yeah, all that stuff that he gets for his bourbon club, it's like 120 is probably the
standard or something.
Yeah, there's some of them that are like 135.
Yeah,
good Lord.
My shirt, I can feel like the chest hair is getting a little longer as I'm drinking it. Like my shirt's getting a little tighter as I drink it. It's let me try this Filibuster. That's good. Man, that's really good. Weeded bourbon. I just like weeded bourbon.
I'll try it here in a minute.
Yeah, that's good. It even tells you the farm that it comes from. Source, Shenandoah HWK Farms.
I didn't even see that. Yeah, you're right.
It's aged 4 years.
It's a Virginia bourbon.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Well, there you go. And it tastes very good. So I'd put my stamp of approval on it. Well, guys, before we get in too deep, I need to tell you, the giveaway is done. If you did not enter, then you're an idiot. And if you did enter and your name is not Bill, and I won't mention his last name on air, but if your name is not Bill, then you are not the winner. But we do appreciate you entering and
if
sharing.
If your name is Bill and you haven't gotten an email, you're the wrong Bill.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Bill, I think there was actually quite a few Bills that entered.
We have made contact with Bill, and
Yep.
He's very excited. So
he is, man. Big congratulations to Bill on winning the giveaway. This was an epic giveaway, and man, we had a great I can see. This is the third big giveaway we've run. This was by far the biggest giveaway we've run in terms of sheer items, but the number of people that entered, I think, tripled from our previous one.
Good deal.
So, and that kind of shows me, it's like, all right, you can kind of judge the growth of the show a little bit by it. And it's like, we literally had 3 times the entries.
Good deal.
So, we do appreciate everybody that joined or that signed up and tried to win. And I can assure you, this will not be our last giveaway.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like deer hunting for me. I want to try to kill a bigger deer every time. So I feel like we got to, every giveaway kind of almost has to up the ante a little bit.
Yeah.
So
we'll be giving away a pickup truck or a tractor for long.
Yes, we will. Hey, one day we might get to that point where we could be like, got a brand new truck out here.
Yeah, it'd be like, is it Oprah that was always give away a car?
Yeah, new car. Yeah, the meme where she's like, new car, pointing to everybody. Yeah. We'll get to that. We're gonna beat out Oprah. Not beat her off. I almost said beat off Oprah, but I don't want to beat off Oprah.
Yeah.
You probably could beat off Oprah.
I'm not sure that would work.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know about those types.
Yeah, we better change the subject.
But yeah, so Bill, congratulations. If you're watching this on Spotify or Apple or even Audible, then leave us a rating. Leave us 5-star ratings. And again, Spotify, y'all got us like right at almost 400 ratings. Let's get there. Let's get to 400. We appreciate all of you doing that. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Let Bobby Lee know what you think of the new thumbnails. He's been knocking it out of the park on the thumbnails. So comment on there and let us know your 4th of July plans. You're gonna shoot some tannerite with a 300 Win Mag? Or, I mean, like blow up a refrigerator or something, let us know what you guys are doing. So,
good redneck activities, yeah.
It is. What else they need to do?
Check out agzaga.com. They're part of that big giveaway. So, obviously, Bill's going to be checking them out, but the rest of you need to as well.
Yep.
The discount code, again, it changed just here in the last month. It is TalkDirt20. That is $20 off a $50 order or more.
Yep.
And free shipping. I've used a bunch of the bayonet wrap just here in the last week or so because it finally dried up for us.
But he still has not used this bayonet wrap.
Yeah, we've still got to roll here. Well, I drive my Jeep every week. I need to just drive the truck one week so I can just throw it in the back of the
put it in
truck.
the back.
Yeah. It's hay season. It's going to be hay season here for a little while. The bayonet wrap, you'll never beat their deals. It's unreal, and that's before you get the $20 off. But yeah, TalkDirt20, use that code.
There you go. Guys, go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Submit your questions on there on the contact page. Check out some of the stuff we got going on. I occasionally throw up a blog post from our episode. Makes it kind of a cool little article. So like if you like to kind of read, what are they talking about? You can jump on there, and I'll be putting a new one up on it soon. But all right, guys, we got quite a few more emails to jump into. Before we get in too deep, man, I tell you, we're balls to the wall with the farm store right now. I'm still not done planting. I'm gonna plant 20 more acres. I got 20 more acres of beans I'm gonna plant. I went the other day and tried to plant them. It was still too wet, and then it rained, I think, 4 inches there, like a couple.
Yeah, well, we had that dry spell last week, and then it rained. Well, depending on where you were. But
see, that place was one of the few that actually caught a rain.
See, I was lucky. None of my hay caught any rains.
Yeah.
Because it was raining kind of all around last week. I got the last baled, and then I helped out a neighbor, too, that had some baler trouble and baled just a little bit for them. I got done about 3:30 or so Saturday afternoon, and it was about 5:15. It was a couple hours later. The bottom fell out.
Yep.
Then it rained Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. I'm like, good Lord, I moved a bunch of hay today, and it was like in spots, it was a little bit soft. I was kind of treading lightly not to cut up my hay fields, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's how I went out. This place is just wet. This place is wet when it's dry.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just a wet farm.
Well, it might save you, planting it this late, because obviously we're going to get drier as the summer goes on. But
yeah, I don't know. I've been burning the road up lately. I went to Missouri, and there was a lot of ground not planted there. I went to Ripley today, which is not that terribly far from here, but I was surprised there's still quite a bit of ground that's not planted.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just don't know. I know a lot of guys probably have filed prevent plant. I'm going to say most guys at this point probably have filed prevent plant. But I'm just curious. I'll be curious to see as it progresses if some of these really late places get planted.
Yeah.
What I think I've shared on here is I've got several farms that are not planted that I could get in there and I could plant them at this point. But they're farms that even in not all of them that are left, but I got a couple that are left that even in a good year, the yield is questionable. Like they're not. It's not
good ground.
Yeah, it's not none of my ice cream ground that's left. And so with that, it's like, okay, even in a good year, these fields are questionable. So now that we're this late, the statistics, like...
Well, it's not like, commodity prices are great,
Yep.
Where you're going to try to plant, every acre, every inch you can find. If you're looking at, I don't know, like, well, these places like 40 bushel beans in a good year.
Yeah, I mean, last year wasn't a good year. Yeah, they'd probably cut 42, 43.
Yeah, and so and now you're planting them in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what the break even is as far as yield this year for you guys, but
I don't know.
I'd imagine, yeah,
probably like 50.
Yeah, right, and so that it'd be stupid. I
Yeah,
mean,
and at this point, I can't get insurance on them.
yeah, it'd be a miracle for you to get to 50 bushels on ground that normally doesn't even cut.
And there's somebody that would hear this, and they'll be like, well, back in 1999, we planted in July 7th, and them beans cut 62 bushels. It's like there's always outliers, but that's not the... Again, if you played the gambling odds here, the odds of me having a good crop off of this late is very slim.
Yeah.
I mean, very slim. Now, I did tell my crop insurance, the adjuster, I told him, because I said, man, because I got to let them know, like, all right, are you going to plant anything back? And I like a week ago, I was still telling him, like, man, I just don't know. I don't know. And he said, I get it. He said, I understand that. But I told him, I said, the only thing I know is whatever decision I make, it'll be the wrong decision. So I said, if I don't plant them, then everybody else that plants this late is going to cut like 60 bushel beans. So I said, that's how I feel. And he started laughing. He said, oh, I'm the same way. He said, I would be the same way.
Yeah, I don't know, because I would imagine everybody tried to get their good ground planted first, make sure they got that planted.
Yep.
And so, yeah, the odds, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. It'll be really interesting. When I sprayed the corn with the drop nozzles, did I talk about that?
Well, you were going to get them.
Okay.
We recorded last, I believe that was Wednesday night, and then you were going to get them like
the next
Thursday.
day. Okay, so I haven't talked about any of that.
No, I don't think you talked about it on.
Man, what a damn nightmare!
Really?
What a damn nightmare! I mean, I'm still losing sleep over that shit.
Just because it's not going as well as you thought it would, or
it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Like,
because the corn is so tall.
Some of the corn was 8 foot tall. Yeah. I literally was in corn. It was like, it's bending over underneath this, like under the sprayer. Now it's just the top, so it would, as soon as I'd get out of it, you'd look back and you couldn't even tell that I had been in there but I had to run the rows. I can't run GPS. And so for people, let me tell what I did. So my corn, we're talking about how wet it's been. Planted this corn, and it was really all my burn down that I had done. It had rained so much that by the time I got in there and planted it, a lot of grass had come up. So I planted it, and then it just started raining, and it rained a bunch. It got really wet. Well, I wasn't sure how great the stand was, so I just jumped in there when it was moderately dry, and I just sprayed Roundup. I didn't put any atrazine I didn't put any pre-emerge down, because if I had put atrazine down and then I had a really bad stand, then I can't plant beans because atrazine will mess up the beans. So I was like, well, I don't want to put the atrazine down yet. So I jumped in there and I sprayed Roundup. It smoked the crap out of the grass, and I had a perfect stand of corn. The corn looks phenomenal over there. Well, then we get to planting, and then it would go to rain and doing this and that. So long story short, I never put a pre-emerge down over there. And by the time I was like, I would be like, all right, as soon as we catch a dry spell right here, I'm going to jump in there and I'm going to plant this. Or not plant it, I'm going to jump in there and spray it. And then I even got to the point now, it's like, all right, I got to side dress this corn also. Once corn gets to a certain stage, that shit is like on steroids. It just, man, it'll grow, probably 7 or 8 inches a day. And so, I'd go out and look at this corn. It was 30 inches tall. At that height, I can't spray atrazine. I think atrazine was 12 inches. But there was other pre-emerges that I could put down. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to catch a dry spell. I'll be able to get out there. Hell, man, it would just keep, like, it rain, and some of this ground runs off into low. Like, this corn was underwater, quite a bit of it, when we had the big rains. So by the time I finally it gets dry enough to get across this thing, I mean, it's been side dressed, but it's literally, some of it was 7 and 8 foot tall. And at this height, there is nothing you can spray because it can't get down into the whorl of the corn, like in the center of the corn coming up.
You can't spray anything over the top. Yeah.
Yes, like if it gets in there, and the bad thing is you don't know. Like they said, it won't be visible damage until harvest. It'll actually like you could go in, you could spray atrazine over the top of this stuff. Corn would look fine, probably keep growing like normal. You'd have your good weed control. Come harvest, you'd have like basically, I think they said it makes like nubs. It just like almost just totally ruins your ear. And so they're like, man, you got to spray. And I went and looked, and man, it was such a crapshoot because the Roundup had smoked the hell out of the grass. Like you would look down the rows, and some of them were just, I mean, clean as a pin. And I mean, this corn is so big now that it's canopied over those centers. And then around the edge, the grass would be so thick that you could like look like you needed a bush hog to get through there. So I was so torn. I'm like, man, I don't know. Like I had some of my reps come out and look at it. I'm like, should I try to spray this? Because the centers are clean. And they're like, man, we know what'll happen. Like as the corn starts to kind of dry down, you're going to lose that coverage in the middle.
Yeah, you get all the sunlight, and that grass can go wild.
He said it's going to go wild. And he said, in any grass you do have, since it's been side dressed, he said,
oh, yeah,
it's
all that
about
nitrogen.
Yeah, he said it's going to gobble it up. He said, you're going to come back in here harvest. He said, you're going to have a ton of grass. You're probably going to have morning glories, which that's always a pain because it'll wrap around your header. And so he was like, man, if you can figure out a way to spray it. So, yeah, I bought these 24-inch drop nozzles. When I went to Missouri, a ton of that ground wasn't planted either. I was driving around. I mean, this is like, we're talking like big blocks of ground that ain't planted out there. And, man, it was just a nightmare. Like I had to run at 60 feet. I had the outer booms folded in. I had to spray 130 acres. And I started that morning. I think I finally got the first tank like ready to go about 9 o'clock in the morning because I had to flush the old stuff out. I had to tweak where I had the nozzles. See, my sprayer's not on 15-inch spacing. It's on 20-inch. So the nozzles didn't line up in the centers of the row.
Oh, man.
So, like, I had to, like, take a nozzle off here and put one here, and this one would be kind of close to the row, and then this one would be dead in the middle, and the next one would be over close to this row. And so I'm like, gosh damn it. And I can't, I can't just adjust this. So 9 o'clock I started. I finished spraying at like almost 7:30 that night, 130 acres. On a normal day, I can spray 130 acres in like probably 3 or 4 hours. And, dude, I'm telling you, I ran 5 miles an hour. That was about my top speed. And I'd have the booms down into the corn, like they're brushing the top of the corn because the drop nozzle's sitting down 24 inches.
Yeah, which for people that don't know what that means, so normally your nozzle is on the boom, basically. Mm-hmm. And so, but these are basically, it's a hose that runs down off the boom.
Yep.
So that your nozzle is hanging down, I guess in this case 24 inches lower, so that it gets down low enough that it's not going to damage the corn but can still kill the weeds.
Yeah, because it can get on the leaves as long as it don't get into that whorl of the corn. And I would, where it gets really problematic is in the low, like in the wet spots, the height of the corn, for the most part, the corn was pretty uniform. But where you'd have fluctuations, I mean, I'm having to manually do everything. I'm having to make sure I'm in the rows. And then, like, the slightest deviation, I ran over a shit ton of corn. Like, I mean, because when you get up to, when the corn was 6-7 foot tall, my fenders on my tires would catch corn. And at some points, I would actually be running down 2 rows of corn. So at that point, I would have to just essentially just sacrifice 1 row of corn and get over, because I'm either going to run over 1 or I'm going to run over 2. And so I was like, it's like making me sick. And then like you'd get out of if I got one farm that it was hilly. For the most part, these were all really flat. One of them wasn't. Man, I'd get on an elevation change. I'd go to adjust this boom. I'd look over, this boom would have done come up out of the corn. And I mean, it was a nightmare. And the thing about it is, like, I don't know if I fucked up or not. Like, that's the thing. Like, you don't know. I don't know that I mean, I called my rep, and that's what I told him. I'm like, dude, I am so scared that I have just completely ruined all of this corn. And the corn looks great. Like, that's where I'm like, it looks super good. So if come harvest now, like at harvest time, I'll either be like, that was the right move, or at harvest time I'm gonna be sick as shit. But
You should have just got a drone to spray it when it was wet.
I know. Well, that's what I've my wife, even more, me and her have talked about it. And she's like, you got to get a drone. I mean, she was like, you just got to get a drone. Like, it's not like there's pros and cons to them, but this year, if I'd had a drone, man,
just because obviously you could spray no matter how muddy it was.
Yeah. When it's wet, you can spray. As long as it ain't raining, you can spray. And hell, I mean, if it would probably have taken a shit long time, but you can even side dress your corn with a drone.
Oh, yeah, I imagine that would take a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure, because I was putting down a lot per acre. I mean, it'd probably get like, the drone would probably fly like a quarter of an acre and then come back. I mean, it would probably be nonstop. Yeah. But, yes, a drone, this year is like the year of the drone. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I got done with that. I came home. I had a pretty stiff drink that night. My nerves were shot after that one.
Yeah.
And again, I guess come harvest time, I'll see if I made a fatal error.
There you go.
So, but yeah, no, and like I said, we get done tonight, I'm going to make apple cider because we're going to open up tomorrow. It's going to be like we're trying to really hit it hard with 4th of July right here.
So sweet corn's going to be in.
Sweet corn will be in. Kraut. Marcy's in there. She's like ready to jump off a bridge. She's canning salsa and blackberry jam. And then she's got to get up. She's going to come help me pick sweet corn. Then she's got to make zucchini bread. Oh, yeah, man, we're like just freaking balls to the wall right now.
Which, obviously this episode will drop on the 4th. So
we should be chilling at that point.
Yeah. Tomorrow being the 3rd is going to be a big day for y'all. When will y'all be open again after that?
Actually, I think I'm going to open for a couple hours Friday morning.
Okay, so even on the 4th. So if you're listening to this, first thing Friday, you can swing by at the Little Blue Farm Store.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe 9 to 11, just to give a few people, maybe if they aren't off work on Thursday, give them time if they want to come grab them some sauerkraut or sweet corn or something. They can swing by Friday morning. And then we're probably going to take a couple days to chill. Which, I mean, we may get wiped out. Hell, I don't know. I hope we do.
Yeah.
I hope we're...
Yeah, y'all can, Facebook probably the best place for them.
Yep, the Little Blue Farm Store on Facebook.
Yep, have their hours posted.
Yep. All right, you got a topic before we get in these emails.
Well, a big topic's kind of been going on for a few weeks now with the big beautiful bill, which I guess is officially
I'd say it's pretty much done. Trump just has to sign it now, don't he?
I know. I guess it was yesterday where the Senate tied 50-50, and so of course Vance cast the tie-breaking vote, in favor of passing it.
Didn't they take all the good 2A stuff out?
I don't know, and that is one thing. That's not the main point I want to discuss, but it does suck that they pass these bills like this, like
1,500 pages long.
How about we vote on every individual, item?
Yep.
And I don't know how many that would come out to, but
well, it's not like they got that much stuff to do.
Because there's a lot of good stuff in this bill. There's a lot of bad stuff.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. You kind of want to get excited about some of the things in there, but then you're like, well, there's a bunch of shit in there that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But that's just the way politics, and you were hoping that a lot of that was going to change, like Trump was going to change everything. And so I will express a little disappointment just in that. Overall, well, can we not get away from passing these omnibus bills or whatever, or
I totally agree. I did
shove everything possible in there.
What did it take them 19 hours to read it? Did you see where they had to read it?
No.
Chuck Schumer got up there and he just to be difficult, but I actually I'm like, maybe if they made them do this shit more, this would change. He got up there and he requested that the bill be read on the floor. So they were like, And I guess that is a motion that has to be done. So they were like, okay. So they had to read the bill from its entirety. Ooh. And I think it took like 15 to 19 hours. Somebody had to get up there and read the bill.
I wonder who they had reading it. It was just like some poor intern.
Probably. Yeah. Probably that gay one, that was banging in the Senate room or whatever. You don't remember when all that hit the fan?
Vaguely.
They were porking in the Senate room or something, him and his man. That'd have been the one I'd have made read it.
Yeah, but hell, was that a congressman or a senator, or was that just a?
I think it was like an intern. I think it was a staffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a staffer of some sort, getting staffed. But that's the one I'd have made read it. But no, yeah, they had to read the whole bill, and I got to thinking, I'm like, you know what? Maybe if they'd start doing that more, they'd be like, by God, we got to shorten these damn bills. I'm tired of sitting here.
But yeah, one part of it that caught an enormous amount of outrage online was Mike Lee's proposal to sell off a tiny percentage of federal lands, supposedly for housing.
Yeah.
For housing needs, which kind of goes back to this kind of New Jersey eminent domain story. I'm like, well, the government, it's not their job to be housing people anyway.
Yeah.
But extreme outrage from a lot. It was kind of both sides.
Bipartisan, yeah.
But the outdoor world lost their ever living mind. I mean, a lot of people I know, a lot of people I don't know but follow and respect, really kind of acted like idiots over it. And I understand because to an extent, because you do worry that, okay, if they pass this, and even though it was going to be like, I don't know, some tiny percentage of federal lands like Bureau of Land Management, Forest Service lands, like so little that you wouldn't have even noticed really. But of course their fear was, well, now will this mean, what are they going to do next year? They're going to sell some more. But people that were acting like Yellowstone was going to be sold, and people that were posting like pictures of like them camping and fishing, like, oh, this is going to be history. I'm like, all right, now you're acting like the assholes that over dramatize everything else we get pissed off about. But it worked. They got it.
Yeah.
That got taken out.
I don't know, because I thought it was like a few million acres.
Yeah, but it's.
I mean, I know in the grand
I don't have
total.
the exact statistic, but like it was going to be like they weren't going to be selling off national parks.
And there was some really.
Your favorite hunting and fishing spot was not going to be sold.
Yeah,
like
it was land that was difficult to even maintain.
Yeah,
but the affordable housing part was what was. See, they got a lot of sneaky language in there that also made it like people didn't want this.
And what I didn't like about it was just like, all right, who are they going to sell this land to? Because I think
China. Some of these foreign investors, there was nothing protecting it from that, I don't think.
Right. There needed to be protection from foreign buyers, big corporate buyers. But I'm like, if you come up with a way to say like, all right, we're going to take this 5,000 acres, whatever. It's not, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. We're going to cut it up into 5-acre lots, whatever. Come up with a reasonable size. We're only going to sell it to individuals who then have to build a dwelling on it. They can't turn around and then sell it or then divide it up even further and try to flip it. They can't sell it for so many years. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because why does the federal government need to own this much land to begin with? Which kind of brings me to my next point. The whole the hashtag, I'm a public landowner. Everybody's a public landowner. All right, we take extreme ownership, and obviously this is an example. Everybody was outraged. No, I'm a public landowner. That's my land. And you're right. As taxpayers, American citizens, that public land is our land.
Yeah.
Let's take that kind of ownership with everything the government does. Why do we act like such pussies when it comes to anything else with the government? The IRS, that's ours.
Yeah.
They work for us. Let's take that kind of passion to everything the government does, especially whenever they act like assholes about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's what irritated me. I was like, where are all you sons of bitches on every other?
Why can't we come together against damn property taxes?
Everything else, like, no, you're right. And I go on rants about this all the time. Like, my family, like, they're like, oh, God, here he goes again. Where anything with the government, I point out, like, we got to remind them, they work for us.
Yeah.
Like those politicians work for us. Like, they want to act like, they're all high and mighty and, the little man doesn't matter. Like, no, let's use that same energy for all kinds of other issues. But I got to thinking, selling it, if they could come up with a way to ensure that it's only going to be sold to individuals, not to some big
entity,
corporate, home builder that, maybe is still going to build houses, but they're going to be rental houses or they're going to profit off of it. No. You sell the land to the individual. Hell, if they want to build the house themselves, they can. Just put in the requirements. Also, like all this federal grazing land, Forest Service and BLM ground that's grazed out west, why not ask some of these ranchers, hey, you want to buy this from us rather than just continuing this grazing lease that maybe your family has had for generations? Because if there's one, like I don't trust the federal government to manage the land properly, and you do hear of cases. Obviously, the Maud case in South Dakota was maybe the most extreme example where they had that Forest Service ground, and it wasn't, I guess, a dispute over what they were, telling them how they could graze it. But you do hear of people where they've had grazing leases, and all of a sudden the Forest Service says, this year we're only going to let you graze a quarter of the number of animals you normally would.
Yeah.
Because we're worried about this, little bullshit matter or whatever. Like, no, I'd rather get the government out of the way and let these ranchers, if they can afford it, to buy it. And I don't want them just to say, all right, we're going to sell off 1 million acres of federal land, going up to auction, highest bidder.
Ted Turner, come in here.
Highest bidder. Yeah, Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are going to buy it all, or some big multinational corporation. What? Like, no. I agree 100%. I don't want that. But why does the federal government and it's a little bit, way certainly from the ranching side of things, I feel a little bit out of line because there's none of that around here.
Yeah.
Like this is all a Western U.S.
Well, and that's why, honestly, I haven't even.
But why does the federal government is keeping a lot of other ranchers from being able to own that land?
Yeah.
And like we talk about how we need more young blood in the game. Like, well, how about we figure out a way to transfer some of this ownership, sell it to somebody who's wanting to get going ranching.
Yeah, see
and
that.
make it where they can't then turn around in 10 years and say, all right, now we're going to sell it.
I'd love to see them be able to make it in a way where it's like actually beneficial to young and beginning farmers, like to where they could get in, because you wouldn't want it to be if they just came out and were like, all right, we're going to make this an affordable sale so that the young farmer can buy it. You would just have huge farms that would buy it. Like you would have a massive ranch already. You'd have your John Dutton or your McBees would come in and be like, oh, hell yeah, $2,000 an acre, we'll buy that. So they need it, if it could be structured in a way where it's like specifically for the beginning, that would be cool.
It'd be complicated.
It would.
But, in my mind, I would whole lots rather that be in the hands of the individuals as opposed to the government. And I am somebody, because I'm not at a place here, I do go out there just about every year and hunt.
Yeah.
A lot of years we do hunt public ground. I've hunted antelope, elk, mule deer, all on public lands, whether it's Forest Service, BLM, state-owned land. Which that's the thing. Like the states would probably do a better job with it than the federal government.
I know their fear with that is the states would sell, but that the problem is that the government has become the way that it has. When initially the government was the people, like the people were the government worked for the people, and that was who was overseeing the land. If that was still the way it is, it'd be all right, because it's like, well, that is us. I mean, that is our land. But the government is no longer for the people, in my opinion.
And they also point out, like, some of these federal lands, at one time were individually owned. There's, and again, I don't know the exact areas, but a lot of folks, like during the Great Depression, couldn't even afford the taxes on some of this ground, and so the government took it back.
Yeah.
And so, really, in many ways, it's not like, again, we're not like talking about, chopping up, Yosemite National Park and selling it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Like these are like grazing lands that are just federally owned. Like, how about, would it not be a bad idea to say, yeah, you know what? Well, let's sell that back to the individual ranchers. I'm in favor of that. Now, again, I don't want just big groups, buying it up to line their pockets and whatnot. And so it was flawed, certainly the way it was in the bill, but just as a whole, to really step back, take federal, land away from the federal government, put it in the hands of individuals that are actually going to, live on it, farm on it, ranch on it. I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. Love for you guys to write in.
But yeah, I just got kind of irritated. So that people that were, I'm like, man, good and well. Like there was a picture of them like holding a trout in a stream. It's like, this will all be gone. I'm like,
y'all write in. Let me know.
Scroll on past. I'm like, buddy, like, no. Like,
go to the contact.
You're being misleading when you post that.
Go to the contact page on talkdirtpodcast.com. Write in. I'm really curious y'all's thoughts. Let's hear some of y'all, or comment on our YouTube video, or you can comment on Spotify. Because I'd love to get some comments. Hear what some people, some of y'all think.
It was a tiny percentage, and again, I know the kind of concern was, well, okay, what are they going to do next time?
Yeah.
Once we allow, we'll give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And I understand that. I don't trust the government. Like you gotta come up with a way to do this where it will be done right.
Yeah.
And I don't think, listening to a lot of people talk, like Mike Lee, like his motives were more to like help out some of his buddies and donors, and like, okay, maybe it was flawed the way it was in that bill, but I'm not opposed to federal lands being sold back to the individual landowner.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. We'll jump into some of these emails. All right. Yeah, we still had quite a few the other day. This comes in from Ryan. Gentlemen, this is in response to the conversation about altering rumens for less methane. That's been a few episodes back, but if y'all can remember that. He said, I normally agree with what you guys discuss, but this time I respectfully think you are off by quite a bit. I am a strong Christian and a ruminant nutritionist. Okay, nice.
Here we go.
We have been, and he's doing this the right way. Like, he's not, it's nice to hear the other side, but I
want people to disagree.
Yeah,
That's where we get good conversation.
And he's coming in respectfully. That's how you do it, guys. Take note. I am a strong Christian and a ruminant nutritionist. We have been altering the rumen in beef and dairy cattle for decades. While not using vaccines or breeding for it specifically, altering the rumen and microbiome has been common practice. When we feed ionospheres such as...
Ionophores.
I put ionospheres.
Yeah, that was just probably spell check got him.
Gotcha. What is it?
Ionophores.
Ionophores. Such as monensin or...
Monensin, yeah.
Or lacilacid. These dang words.
Yeah.
Bovatec.
Yeah.
We are altering that room in microbiome. Often they are listed for use as a coccidiostat,
yep,
but are also labeled for higher feed efficiency.
Yeah.
It is also common to feed things like alpha amylase or methyl godforsaken damn, man, shit. Methyl hydroxylase analog methionine.
All right, feeding a bunch of shit.
God dang. To further alter room, and you got the non-doctor reading this one, to further alter room and function in both dairy and or beef cattle. Even things such as prebiotics and probiotics or yeast cultures are all altering rumen function. While they are beneficial to the animal's health, it still falls under the same argument. If we were concerned about not changing the animal from the way God created them, not only would we not use these feed additives that are widespread in commercial ag today, but we would have to feed those cattle differently. Ruminants are not designed to handle high levels of grain like they are fed today. If our goal was to raise cattle the way God intended, everything would be grass-fed. I'm not saying that I agree with Jeff Bezos getting involved with the cattle industry, but not for the reason that you stated. I will also argue that we have been breeding for cattle that produce less methane for a long time already, but have instead been calling it efficiency. We breed animals that finish out faster because it is more economical, but what that means is that they produce more meat per unit of methane they give off anyways. I hope this starts a good conversation. So,
Yeah.
Ryan, appreciate it. I wish you had used some little less large words. I'm just kidding. But I'm going to pretty much just pass this one to Bobby Lee because this is out of my wheelhouse.
Well, no, we probably agree on most things there. I go back to even grain finished cattle are eating grain for such a small portion of their life.
Yeah.
And now, again, like he said, the way the ruminant, when the buffalo or, roaming the plains, the deer, the elk, whatever, right, they didn't get finished out on grain, we didn't run them over here. It's like, yeah, y'all eat this for a little while before we shoot you,
They just didn't know that it would make it so much tastier yet.
Right. Yeah. But so, I don't know. I'm articulating what I'm thinking. With the whole thing with the Business Earth Fund, and I think he probably agrees with it here. It's like they're just it's. I feel like it's all a hoax. How they're wanting to go for certain things, and really what they want to do is they just want to control everything.
I was gonna say it's not a genuine thing, like in their part. They're not being genuine. They're
right.
There's ulterior motives.
And I would say, I don't know. I mean, there may be statistics out there, and you can look it up. Which, the methane production. Once they're in a feedlot and they're eating a high concentrate diet, they have these feed additives, and yes, we add those in there to help them to be able to handle large quantities of grain. As opposed to eating, a forage-based diet. But the percentage of time for their life that they're doing that is so small. And then, like he even made the point, it's almost offset because, if I graze, steers up to 1,000 pounds and then put them on, in a feedlot basically to get them to finishing weight, they do that in a fraction of the time it would take if we just tried to graze them until, they were 1,600 pounds, whatever.
Yeah.
The average live weight is. I think our average carcass weight is up over 900 pounds now. Obviously they may not be producing as much methane like per day or per meal, but you multiply that times that many extra days that they're on feed. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, but yeah, I still feel like this is all like what they're wanting to do with that money. I don't know that I trust it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I don't trust it at all. And even talking about like developing a vaccine that alters the room,
That just seems a little more. See, to me, that's a little more different than that's different than just we're going to add a certain protein or a certain element into a certain probiotic or prebiotic into we're going to introduce this bacteria to their gut that's going to affect their methane production is different to me than here's a vaccine that's going to alter.
And if they want to do that research, that's fine. Tell them to go for it.
Yeah.
I think that the issue a lot of people have is, this group has made it known they don't want us eating meat or don't want us eating as much meat. And then you've got the premier breed association in the entire cattle world accepting that money.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving some validity to what they're doing, and that's problematic to me, and especially with the Angus Association. It all went back to their members got outraged, and unlike the hunting community who got their way when they got outraged,
we don't ever get our way.
Right. The Angus Association members who signed that petition, the Angus Association was like, yeah, whatever. Thanks for wasting y'all's time, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. Yeah, man. They don't ever get their way. Poor, I don't know. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you writing in, man. Yeah, very valid point. It is. And that's how, hey, if you want to write in and tell us that you disagree or something, that's how you do it right there.
Yeah, he's right. We do things to, right. we're not going to sit here and pretend that, putting cattle in a feed yard is exactly the way that God and nature may have necessarily originally intended it. But, I also feel like, just from the Christian standpoint, God gave us, resources and brains and the ability to improve upon some things, to a certain extent, and do it in a way that, allows us to get them to finish quicker and feed more people and, just do it a little more efficiently.
Yep. All right, next one comes in from James. James writes in, like I said, appreciate you, Ryan. James writes in, 30-year-old Southwestern Pennsylvania listener here. I feel like we got a pretty good listenership in Pennsylvania. Yeah. It's some cool ag in Pennsylvania. Small-time cattle farmer as a side business. Very curious which podcast Yins. Is that instead of y'all, I wonder if Yins is like a Pennsylvanian way of saying it.
In East Tennessee, it's Yuns.
Yuns?
Yuns. Yuns or Yuns. Someone would even...
Yuns.
Yeah.
So like instead of y'all?
Yeah, they say Yuns. What are Yuns doing this weekend? That's like...
I've never heard that.
That's a very, like, Appalachia, like East Tennessee kind of thing. I'm sure it may be more of Appalachia than just East Tennessee, but I spent some time in East Tennessee in school and had some buddies that were from, like, kind of upper East Tennessee.
And they'd say that?
Yuns.
Huh. Okay.
And then, I've told you, like, where my wife is from, it's really weird.
How they pronounce the place?
No. Well, that too.
Oh, the water hose.
They don't have water hoses.
Yeah.
They call a water hose a hose pipe.
Hose pipe. Yeah, that is weird.
Like it's a hose pipe.
Yep.
It's a hose pipe. I mean, like they don't use the term water hose or garden hose.
If they were like, go get me a hose pipe, I wouldn't have a damn clue what they're talking about.
And my whole thing is like a pipe to me is rigid.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Like a pipe is, PVC.
Did Kaylin call it that initially?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they would call it that.
Does she still call it that?
No. She's lived in West Tennessee long enough that she calls it a water hose now.
Good. Yeah, when I hear pipe, I'm thinking of like a PVC, like a rigid pipe.
Yeah. PVC, metal, like something. It's got to be like I could defend myself with it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there you go. Very curious which podcast Yins we're talking about in the latest episode. Ask me on social media. I'll tell you. Ask me on Instagram.
We were throwing a little shade.
Yeah. I still feel strongly about him. You can reach out to me. He said, keep up the great work. I enjoy listening every Friday on my commute to work. Also enjoy the Hurricane Creek YouTube channel. Thank you and have a blessed day, James. Hey, man, appreciate the support. That's awesome, man. Listening every day on his way to work. Friday. So he's one of our initial blasters there, man. That's what we like. And, Bobby Lee. He appreciates you on the YouTube side. So,
yes, sir. Be sure you hit that thumbs up button.
That's right. That's right. James, thank you, man. All right. The next one comes. Oh, this is a YouTube video I have to look at. Somebody sent in, said we might be interested in this link. I'll have to come back to that one. Hope it's not like a spam. Ryan writes in, second time writing to y'all. That's always, man, we love a repeat writer. Second time writing to y'all. Was great hearing it the first time. Since then, I've bought some land for myself so I can start raising calves at home. Nice.
Good deal.
Also picked up another 160 of cattle pasture. Having a heck of a time with hay this year on the Texas coast. June 12th, and in the last 30 days, we have gotten over 20 inches of rain with no relief in sight. Hey, we feel your pain.
Yeah, that's exactly what you've been going through.
He said, my custom baling customers are starting to get impatient. Oh, well, I got to take the good with the bad. Thank you for your time. Enjoy my Friday mornings listening to y'all. Yeah, dude, it's been, appreciate you, Ryan. Thank you for writing in. I mean, hell, I feel like every episode I'm bitching about the rain that's messing me up, and now everybody even in Missouri and everywhere else.
Well, that's what I'm kind of in the same boat with. I don't do any custom hay, but pretty much all my hay ground is I don't own. I'm either renting it or just cutting it as a favor for folks so that they don't have to bush hog it. And
now they're like, do I need to get that bush hog out of the weeds?
Some of them gotten a little antsy. They're like, hey, man, you going to get this cut? I'm like, have you been living under a rock? like, have you looked out your window lately? Like, it rains every 2 to 3 days. But no, they were all very polite about it. And I did finally, well, obviously our guest last week, Mr. Tim, I have not gotten his cut, and he went ahead and bush hogged it. And I was like, yeah, I'll see if I can get it cut. Maybe, well, now it is July. Like maybe we'll try to cut it later this month. And but I'm blessed with when some of it's because we picked up some more hay ground. My first cutting, even though I didn't even cut everything that I normally would have planned on, I've already got over half the hay
that you need.
I need to look back. I probably that was probably one of my goals for this year of how many rolls I was going to bale. And
yeah.
I ought to crush that. Unless it all of a sudden does quit raining and not rain anymore.
Yeah.
I ought to be in good shape on hay.
Well, that's what I got some buddies in the landscape business, and that's what one of them, he's like, dude, he'll talk about it. He's like, it can rain and rain and rain. And he said, and he's like, you can't cut the grass when it's wet and like that. And so if it wouldn't mess up your mower, because it'll just dull your blades and stuff. If I was like a landscaper, that's why I could never be like a lawn care guy, because if it was like super wet like this and I had a landlord that's like, when are you gonna cut my grass? I'd just be like, all right. I'd just go show up and just cut the hell out of it in the rain. And like, again, if this wouldn't mess up the mower, because it'd be hell on your blades, but just then they'd have those big hideous clumps in their yard. Like, it would make me mad to where I would go and do something like that. But I know he's been fighting the same thing. He said people are like, are you going to ever cut my yard? And he's like, have you looked outside?
Well, that's what Saturday when I finished my hay and then rolled that little bit for a friend. And I got home and I was like, well, I need to mow the yard. And I was like 15 minutes from being done. I had to stop and run to the office real quick. And right as I was getting home, it was pouring.
Oh, man, yeah.
And so I had my yard like 80% mowed. And I was like, but sun came out on Sunday and it was a little wet.
You jumped out there and finished up.
Once the dew got dried off, it's like, yeah, it ain't much. But yeah.
Did you use a sickle blade?
Hell no, I used a 0 turn.
Which guy? You got a bad boy?
No, I got an X-Mark.
Okay, gotcha. Got a 60-inch deck?
No, I'm like a 48, 52. Yeah, my yard. If I'm mowing just my yard, not like down around the barn or anything, I can do it in like less than an hour. Like, yeah. That's what my brother's like, you need to get it. I was like, it takes me like 45 minutes to mow. Like, I don't need a bigger mower.
Dude, I got that bad boy, which I bought it for the store, and there is a lot of mowing like between the trees and all that, and it's got a 60-inch deck on it, and man, I can cut the grass because I mow up here at the house too, and man, I can cut my yard in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's bad to the bone, which I'm still so used to the old little John Deere like riding mower. I don't go fast because like my buddy that does landscaping, I mean, he's running like 15 miles an hour on these 0 turns.
Yeah.
I still can't quite bring myself to go that fast. Yeah. Like, I still cut probably pretty slow.
Yeah, I think I do too. I mean, I don't want to spend all day mowing, but like, I'm not out there, like, I'm not trying to race to get done. I'm not.
Yeah. It is hard to like drink a beer or anything on a 0 turn though.
I've said that. And I've heard people say, oh no, you got to be able to.
But it's not as comfortable though.
No, if I try to drink a beer, the beer just gets hot.
Yeah.
While I'm mowing.
Or I'm like dumping it in my lap because I'll try to hold it up here and it's like spilling all over me and stuff. Because if you put it down,
you need one of those beer helmets.
Yes.
That's the only answer. Yeah.
It really is. Yes, it is. So, all right, man, we appreciate that, Ryan. We absolutely feel your pain on the rain. We feel your pain on the rain. Write in anytime, man. All right, this next one comes in from Ben. He sent us an article I have to look at. He says, thought you guys might find this one interesting. All right, I'm making a note of both of these. Oh, man, yeah, Ryan. Dude, Ben, I apologize. He wrote that one back in May. We got to get on that one. I think I have actually marked it. Yeah, I had a star on it. All right, here we go. This is unless somebody reached out wanted to be on the show. Okay, Kelsey writes in. Kelsey's been a long-time listener of the show. I recognize the name. He said, so Bobby Lee, you'll enjoy this. He said, I sold a trailer on Facebook Marketplace for super cheap, which Bobby Lee, for people that don't know, he loves to sell shit on Facebook Marketplace. So he said, I needed some work, and I just didn't have time to fool with it. Or it needed some work, and he didn't have time to fool with it. Within 15 minutes of posting it, he had about 20 people messaging him about it. A guy from Arkansas, about 2.5 hours from me, wanted to buy it and asked if I could hold it for him. I told him no holds, but I'd let him know if it sold before he came to get it so he wouldn't have to drive so far for nothing. About 10 minutes later, a local guy messaged me about it and came by about an hour later and put cash in my hand and left with it. I told the guy from Arkansas it sold, and he lost his shit. He thought that since he said he would be down the next day to buy it, I should have held it for him, and commenced to message me for the next 30 minutes about how I did him wrong. I reminded him that I don't do holds and that the first one to show up with cash won. He still wanted to argue, so I just deleted it and blocked him. The choice of marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
It is social media.
Well, I never understood, like, because I'll get on there sometimes, just look stuff, and people, you like, in their description for something they're selling, be like, don't ask if it's available. If it's,
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, people like get, like, they're almost assholes about, like, don't ask. But, like, yeah, then whenever you go to sell something, you're like, okay, now I know why people don't ask.
Yeah, because you get 75 messages.
People,
Is this still
people just want to know
available?
if it's available, and then they don't ask anything else. You're like, yes, and then that's the last thing you hear from them. Like, what? Are you just curious if I sold it or not? Like, are you from the government wanting to be sure I report this on my tax? Like, what's going on here? Like, and
Dude, I had that black Peterbilt that I sold. I had put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I think I was asking, like, I don't even remember, 30 grand or something for this truck. It was a 359, and it needed some work on it, but I put it up there. Oh yeah, and I'd get $1 billion. Is this still available? And which, Facebook gives you suggestions for, like, messages, and one of them says, is this still available? So you can just, like, tap it and it'll just automatically send it. So I know those bastards were just doing that, and yeah, I'd be like, yes. And but what got me worse than that, what you talked about, is it's the extreme low ballers. Like this.
Oh yeah, I had a guy try to do that on the truck that I sold.
Oh dude, on this Peterbilt, man, like, this truck needed some work. I ended up I think I sold it for $25,000. I had it listed for like 30, and I had a guy and he was like $15K, and I said no, and he was like $15K cash, and I was like, well, what the hell else are you gonna pay with? Like a
check.
But yeah, I didn't want to. I was like, I want cash anyway. So I'm like, what's this?
Well, and some people do that. Like, they expect you to come off that much just because it's gonna be cash. Like, no, I might come off a little, but if it's cash versus a check, just because I don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
May or may not report it. No, I wouldn't do that. But it's like, the people that want to get it for like half price because they're paying cash. Like, no.
He was like, hey man, come on. Like, and he kept on. And I'm like, I think I was actually an asshole. Finally, I'm like, I don't remember if I called him an idiot or something. I'm like, I'm not saying, because he just kept on. And then he was like, if I remember right, I think he even dropped the price, like, after I was like, no. And then I think he's like $12K. And I'm like, no, you dipshit. Like, I'm not, it just amazes me.
Well, my whole deal was, when we went to trade in that truck, that the dealer didn't offer me near as much on trade-in as I thought it was worth. But of course, it's better to trade it in because you don't
have to deal with any of that. Yeah.
Well, that, number one, and then the sales tax.
Oh yeah.
You only pay the difference.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, not only need to sell it for significantly more than what they offered on trade-in, but like, and I don't know, I think they had offered us like 19 for trade-in or whatever. And I was like, no, it's worth more than that, significantly more. And like, I had done the math, like, on the sales tax, like, so I needed to get whatever amount, or otherwise I'd just be better off trading it. This guy was wanting to offer me, he was going to offer me like $15,000. I'm like, buddy, I've already got a better offer from the dealer to trade it in. Like, I'd trade it in before I would do that. A moron on multiple levels. He's like, that's all it's worth. And like, this guy, like, I got way madder about it than I should have. I should have just blocked him immediately.
Yeah.
And just moved on.
Did you tell him he was an idiot?
I don't remember. It might be saved in like the message archives from 3 years ago or whatever it was. But it was just like, he just kept going on, and I was like, what are you, like, no. The answer is just no.
Oh man, people, it's on vehicles.
Like, that's all it's worth. And I'm like, okay, then move along. Like, like, you're not gonna buy it then. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it pisses me off. Yeah, Kelsey, that's hilarious, man. I definitely, I can relate as well. It's a different world on freaking Facebook and stuff.
Facebook is the Walmart of the internet. It's why I don't have a Facebook account. Like, I don't even, like, I have my wife's password saved on mine. So and mainly the only thing I get on Facebook for is to look at Marketplace.
Yeah.
Because I bought some stuff on there. Bought some good stuff. And more than anything.
Did you buy any cocaine on there?
You know, I don't think I ever have.
You've never bought any cocaine on Facebook?
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you're sitting on the shitter and like I've already, like, it's usually when I read my daily devotional and like stuff like that. And then like I'm still sitting there and so like, oh, I'll scroll Marketplace for a minute. And like, you never know, there might be a screaming deal on something that I just can't live without.
That's true. That is true.
I buy something like once a year off there.
Yeah.
But I spend time every day looking at it.
We bought our crock off of there. I buy stuff. That 30-gallon crock we bought, I bought it on there that we couldn't use.
I can't remember the last thing I bought on there. It's used equipment, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. This finishes up our emails, but there was a couple. I'm trying to look here. I remember some write-ins on YouTube that I wanted to holler at. So on a couple episodes back, Justin wrote in. He said, "Try Old Crow bourbon." Have you ever heard of that?
I have.
I've never had it, but I think I've heard of it.
I've never had it either.
He said, "Pretty cheap, but really solid choice for bourbon."
Well, lucky for us, we don't need to buy bourbon maybe ever again.
I was gonna say we get it really cheap. We get it for free from our, like I said, our awesome bourbon sponsor.
Yeah, we either need to develop, you know, a much worse drinking habit, or we're just not ever gonna have to buy bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, I got a friend of mine from high school is like, you know, he's at the liquor store. And used to, I would see him and kind of catch up. Now I hardly ever see him no more because I don't ever go buy liquor anymore. Yeah, so, and then Andrea, she writes in, she was pumped for the shout-out. She was the one that bought the lawn chair.
Oh, yeah.
She said, "OMG, thank you for the shout-out. Well, here you get another one, Andrea." She said, "That was so awesome. Lord willing, we'll be planting our sweet potatoes this week." Dang.
I've gotten where I eat a bunch of sweet potatoes.
I love sweet potatoes. Now, you probably eat yours different than I do.
Well, they're actually, because trying to watch my A1C and all that.
Oh, and she said you need to wear a dress in your next Hurricane Creek Farms video.
Oh, man. I filmed today, so the one that'll come out on Friday won't be wearing a dress. But, yeah, and my drag get up.
Yep.
Before I go read to the kids at school. Yeah. Yeah, I lost my train of thought there. Thinking about my dresses.
Oh, man. The sweet potatoes. You've been eating a lot of sweet potatoes.
No, we're in like grilling mode. Like we run the grill pretty much every night this time of year.
Yeah.
I'll just cut them up, kind of dice them up and just throw them in a skillet with some butter. And usually like with some cauliflower or broccoli or something else.
Mm-hmm.
And, just have kind of a medley of vegetables.
Man, I usually take them and I'll bake them. And then I put brown sugar and butter in there.
So, I have to watch the brown sugar. But yeah, contrary to the name, sweet potatoes actually has like a lower glycemic index. Or
really? Less sugar?
Than a white potato. Because it's more fiber or something. Hell, I don't know. But that or I'll slice them up real thin like basically chips.
Yeah.
And air fry them.
Never had it like that.
Yeah, pretty good. I think it was Saturday when it was raining its ass off, and I was like, well, I'm not going to grill tonight. Can't remember what I think I just threw some steaks in a cast iron skillet and threw some sweet potatoes in the air fryer. It's like, there we go.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And then Andrea wrote in the newest episode, she said, "Great podcast as always. By the time the next podcast airs, season 2 of the McBee Family Dynasty will be out. Are y'all going to watch it, and what are your thoughts on them?" I can tell you, to be honest with you, I probably won't watch it. I know you've kind of given it a shot.
I watched 3 or 4 episodes of, I don't even know which season it was. Maybe, I don't think it was the first season, but it was just the first one I watched. I have, it has popped up on my, social media timeline, some of the ads. This time of year, I don't watch much TV. I mean, like I just said, our routine right now is when I get home from work, or like tonight when I got done, on the farm today because I was off, I come home, I pretty much light the grill. I actually light our little
Fire pit.
And I'm like,
Because it's so damn cold outside.
right.
I
It's
mean,
like,
like,
we got a fire pit. I have an endless supply of trees that are falling down, so I'm constantly cutting up wood.
Yeah.
So I light it. I usually
Like,
cut
well,
up.
the heat index is only 108. We need to make it about 20 degrees warmer out here.
I turn on my turtle box, start playing some music.
What are you jamming?
I've actually Amazon Music is
That's
what
all I
I've gone with,
use.
because there's no ads.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, well, you're paying for it. Then I'm like, well, I don't think I am.
I don't know. I use it.
We've got an Amazon Prime account. Just 'cause, hell, everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a mix. It's kind of like it's a lot of like classic country, like 90s and older, mixed with some of the new guys that are like a little more of the bluegrass and like some Zach Top. A lot of the country stuff that you can't actually hear on the radio, which pisses me off. 'Cause I'm like, there's actually some good new country stuff, Coulter Wall, Ryan Bingham, those types.
Yeah.
But I was asked somebody the other day that, like, it's a younger person, like, but you don't hear them on the radio, do you? And they're like, nah, like, they don't play that. They play the Kane Brown, and,
Morgan Wallen.
yeah, the bro country that's not even country at all.
Yeah.
And I actually, Morgan Wallen's a big Tennessee fan, so hey, I tolerate him. But yeah, like the other shit that comes on air quotes country radio nowadays. So yeah. Then we sit out there and I will usually turn on the TV and just put it on a ball game.
Yeah.
And mute it because because I'm listening to music, but it's like I just need something on the TV.
I usually do the same thing. Turn it on a ball game.
Yeah, a ball game that I'm usually not even paying attention to.
Yeah.
It's like
always a ball game at our house.
My son, my son's always like, "Who we rooting for in this one?" And I'm like, "Buddy, I don't even know who's that playing." Okay.
Yeah. Man, if
that pisses me off because last night it was the only thing on was baseball, and the Cubs were playing.
I'd be pissed off if that was the only thing on too.
Well, again, I didn't really care, but and I don't pay for I grew up a Braves fan. I was like, watch a Braves game. Well, it wasn't like on like the major channel, so I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
But like on ESPN or whatever was the Cubs and Cleveland. He's like, who is that? And I was like, it's the Cleveland Indians in the Chicago Cubs.
What are they now?
They're like the Cleveland Guardians.
Oh,
it's so fucking stupid. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't even know.
I was like, it's the Cleveland Indians is what it is.
Yeah, the Guardians.
But yeah,
we've been watching Naked and Afraid. That's been my nighttime routine.
What? And like I would, but again, we're got the radio playing.
Yeah.
Or turtle box, and so I'm not even. I don't want to put it on something that would make no sense if I can't hear what's going on.
One that since we moved into this house, we've been here now. I don't know, close to a year, we're probably 9 months or so. But I think I've turned on one sport like baseball or something, and my kids were like, "No!" Like I turned it on.
Okay, I figured the reason we had to record late tonight was because y'all were watching the Gold Cup.
The what?
The Gold Cup.
What is the Gold Cup?
It's the CONCACAF soccer tournament.
I was thinking this is is this like 2 girls, 1 cup type thing? What is this?
No, that actually was what we had on the TV tonight and it was muted because we were listening while I was grilling burgers.
No, man.
And this probably surprised a lot of people because it is the most woke sport out there. Maybe the WNBA is going to be like, and I don't watch like club soccer or whatever. But like when the U.S. is playing, like I'm like, all right. Like that's clearly my team.
But don't all of them hate the U.S.?
Man, I don't know. It's very like, oh yeah, like during June, like they would have like the little pride emblem and shit, and it's like, oh my god. But it is hilarious, like because they got the shit beat out of them by somebody. Like I was like, it's gonna be good on Twitter, and like the comments to like the official team's like Twitter page was like, cut the gay shit and just play soccer. Like I was like, hell yeah. Like I'm not the only not woke person that
watches soccer,
half-ass follows U.S. soccer.
Yeah.
Like I barely know what's going on, but
I don't know Dude, the only sport of it, and I've told you this many times, but UFC, I've actually bought quite a few of the pay-per-views of UFC.
Yeah.
I love the UFC, but
See, I'm not going to do a pay-per-view. Like, I have to be really, like, I don't know if I ever said, like, I don't know a guy, but
best friends with one of the guys that's in there.
Me and him are bros. Like, we grapple all the time.
They have the
like,
same
we do
tattoos.
sparring. That's the word.
They spar.
A young lady that works for us, her brother
He grapples with her.
was in the UFC. Yeah, now you're going to really get me in trouble. No, her brother was in the UFC. I was like, oh, hell yeah. And
They were great friends until Bobby Lee found out he was a Jew. And then after that, it has just really gone downhill.
He's also not a Jew. But no, like when he was still in the UFC and fighting, like, oh yeah, like I would make sure, because like otherwise I'm like, well, it's kind of like the soccer. Like if there's a UFC fight on, I'm like, all right, is either one of these guys an American? Okay, I'm rooting for the American.
Yeah.
You know, that's really
So if soccer is on or UFC is on, which would you be more likely to watch?
So if like the U.S. national team is playing,
Oh man, Mark, that makes me sad to hear.
I'm probably going to watch that. You know, if it's an actual like tournament, because they play what they call friendlies, which are basically just exhibitions and don't mean shit. And like, which even this Gold Cup, and we've gone way too deep in soccer already, but like a lot of our top players aren't even playing because it's not the World Cup. Like I think the World Cup is maybe next summer, where all the best players will be playing.
The Super Bowl could be on, or the World Series. Either one of those could be on, and like a really just low card UFC fight would be on. I'd rather watch the UFC fight. Like I just can't. I don't know, man. I like going. I like going to games. I enjoy going, but I just can't do that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, like baseball. Like I'm a Braves fan.
Baseball will put my ass to sleep on TV.
I don't think I've watched a Braves game all year. I mean, just because I don't.
You know what I watched?
Get whatever package they always are on, and like I don't really even keep up with them anymore.
Our
if they
local
make the playoffs, I'll watch them.
Yeah, our local theater is up and running now.
My mom took my kids and my nieces today.
Where'd they go see? How to Train a Dragon?
No, name me another one.
Final Destination.
No,
I don't know.
It was something.
Oh, Jurassic World that just came out. Came out today.
Because shit, I asked them. I was like, "What'd y'all go see?" And they told me.
I don't know. I took Emerson to see.
It was something animated. It was like, I want to say like Garfield.
There's Lilo and Stitch. Oh hell, what's that? There's another one. I don't know. I took my daughter to see How to Train Your Dragon Friday or Saturday, and so Levi, he'll stay up. Levi's like me. He's a movie guy.
I saw where y'all went and watched the Jurassic World?
Mission Impossible. It is freaking badass, man. Like
I took my son to watch one of the Jurassic.
It was the same one I took Emerson them to, because I think you had
my son got scared shitless.
Yeah, you said that, because there is some frightening parts. My kids were
There's a new Jurassic.
It came out today. Jurassic World.
Because my son, he went through a phase there where like dinosaurs were his jam.
Yeah.
Now he's kind of not into that as much. But,
yeah. I want to go see it.
If we catch, like, if it happens to be like raining Sunday afternoon, we might go.
Yeah. Me and Levi. So Levi is like me. This, for people who don't know, this is my son. I have 7-year-old twins. I got a son and a daughter. And Levi is just like me in the sense that if a movie is on, he'll stay up all night. Like, we'll watch a movie, turn on a movie late at night. My wife and daughter will fall asleep in like 15 minutes. Emerson falls asleep in like 2 minutes, but my wife falls asleep in about 15. Levi will stay awake. Levi will outlast me. Like, I'll be dozing in and out. Sometimes I will fall asleep and I'll wake up and he's still there watching it. So the other night I was like, all right, Levi, I'll take you to a movie. I said, you want to go see a Mission Impossible? Most of the Mission Impossibles are not like, the language is never really bad in those, and they don't show any nudity. So I was like, all right. And I mean, it's a little violent, but I mean, hell, I've shown him Braveheart.
Yeah, I mean, it's PG-13.
It is. We watched Gladiator a few nights ago. We go to see Mission Impossible, and they have a 10 o'clock showing. And I am so pumped because, man, that's all. I used to go to the late showings all the time. When they'd have a midnight premiere.
I'd be like your daughter. I'd be asleep.
Yeah, dude, I loved it. I used to go to midnight premieres all the time. When they done on Thursday nights, if a new movie was coming out, they would drop it at midnight, and I used to go. But so 10 o'clock, they're showing Mission Impossible. And I tell Levi, I'm like, let's go. He's pumped up. He's had his shower. He's like fired up. So we go and
put on his nice cowboy
he
boots.
did, man. He was pumped up. And so we get there, and even as we're going, he's like, I'm a little tired. And it was the night.
Did you get him a Red Bull?
I should have. We did drink a Coke. We shared a Coke. It was Monday night because it rained. Isn't that right? Yeah, it rained its ass off Monday night. It's when that thunderstorm.
Yeah, because it rained Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah.
Yep. So it was starting to lightning as we were going. And, man, we were watching it. You could hear the thunder like crazy in there in the movies. But it was hilarious, man. This movie is 3 hours long. It is 2 hours and 50 minutes long.
Well, we started at 10?
Started at 10 o'clock. And funny, Levi would be kind of like, me and him were the only one. We were the only people in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Like, there was no one else there, which, again, this was a Monday night at 10 o'clock. I saw one of the workers, like, poke his head in there, and we were sitting there watching it, and then he like, disappeared. I know he was probably like, shit, because I bet if we weren't there, they could probably go home. But they have to keep, like, a skeleton crew there if someone's there. So they're going to hate my ass, because I'm going to do that shit pretty regular. But, we're sitting there, and like, this movie is so balls to the wall, man. Like Levi, the premise of it, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. The premise of this one is like there's an AI system that has like infiltrated. It's infiltrating every nation's weapons system, and it's basically going to nuke the world. And so Tom Cruise
it's actually something that sounds entirely plausible.
Very much so. And Tom Cruise has like access. He's Ethan Hunt, whatever. He's got access to the entity, they call it, and all this. And he has to stop this from happening. And he's got like 72 hours. So, I mean, it's just balls to the wall. But every now and then they would get to talking about the entity, and, you know, it'd be kind of stuff that was going over Levi's head. And he'd get kind of sleepy looking. But then next thing you know, all hell would break loose on the movie and be fired up. And he'd be like, man, he'd be just zoned in. But the best part, so Tom, he does wing walking. Have you seen like the lead up about this?
No.
Dude, it's been like Tom Cruise walks it's a bi-wing airplane, and he walks between the wings while they're flying in the air. And he legitimately did this stunt. Like, it was a big ass deal. Like, they showed behind the scenes. He had like a little rope on him, but he's literally like, it's one little rope, and then he's hanging onto an airplane while it's flying in the air. And I mean, he's like hanging onto the wing. Like, it was an insanely dangerous stunt. And they talked about how difficult it was to shoot this stunt. Well, while he's in there, now I'm not giving any spoilers away, the bad guy that's in this plane tries to stab him, and he grabs the dude's arm, and he just snaps his arm backwards, and the guy drops the knife, and he yells. And Levi's like, did you see that? He just broke that guy's arm. And so then when we get, like, there's 20 minutes left of the movie after that, we get in the car, and Levi's still like, I got to tell Mommy about him breaking that dude's arm. Like, he was like fired up about Tom just snapping this dude's arm. And so literally the next morning, because we got home, my wife and kids were long asleep.
He didn't go wake her up and tell her about it.
No, and he did say, he was like, when we get home, I got to tell Mommy about him breaking that dude's arm. And I said, buddy, your mommy is going to be sound asleep when you get home. You can tell her in the morning. And because it was probably 1:15 when we got home. And I mean, even driving home, Levi's like, man, there's nobody out. And I'm like, well, son, it's literally 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, this is
on Tuesday morning.
Yes, it is dead of night. But he was so stoked about Tom just snapping that dude's arm. Like, next morning, he told my wife, he was like, there's a guy and he breaks this dude's arm. Like, she was like, oh, wow, whoa. So don't watch it. My son's going to like go to school when school starts back and get in trouble for like snapping a kid's arm. But definitely a badass movie, but it is very long. So
I'll watch that when it comes out.
Yeah,
it'll
it's
take
legit.
me like 3 days. Hey, I watched the movie y'all talked about, or Tim talked about last week.
The one on with Kirk Douglas.
Yeah,
was it pretty good?
I can't remember if it was Cast a Long Shadow or Cast a Giant Shadow. Yeah.
Oh shit, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was good actually.
Yeah.
John Wayne was in it.
Oh, really?
I was like, hell.
Hell, that would have been towards the end of his life. Wasn't it in '66 when that was made, I think?
I'd have to look it up. Yeah.
Didn't he die in the '60s?
Man, I'd have to look that up too.
Yeah.
John Wayne, he is almost not quite a cameo, but he's a very much like, and actually in the credits it was like, it listed him as like, Frank Sinatra was in it. It's like,
okay, so there's a lot of little like
kind
big
of like
people.
guest appearances.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kirk Douglas was definitely the lead, but yeah, it was good, and it was actually, pretty good. Like, kind of lay out like how, fragile that all there was, especially when Israel was first, set up by the, I guess the UK and the US. So,
Yeah.
it was a good movie.
Okay, well, I'll have to check it out.
It did take me 2 days to watch it. Like he and I started it on Saturday night because the girls were gone, and
Did he like it?
he was into it enough where he asked me the next day. He's like, "Daddy, did you finish watching Cast a Giant Shadow? Like, do you remember the name and everything?" I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah, I finished it the next day because
Was he like, thank
we fell
God.
asleep watching it."
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like, that's what I'm like. It's cool that I can now start taking Levi to see some movies. Now, I mean, he's 7, so I mean, I have to be, I have to be pretty selective.
I'm sure he does the same thing with you, but like we'll be watching something. My son will start asking me questions. I'm like, "Bro, I'm watching the same thing you are."
Yes.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, he always wants to know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And I'm like, well, like, that's not really the way the world works.
Yeah.
Like there's not always good and bad. Like there's just one side and another side. And
He will ask me that.
does get a little deep for him. But my mom started getting worried because I would be watching like some Ruby Ridge documentaries and stuff.
You're creating an anarchist.
and so like he'll like start talking about the government and how like evil they are and all the bad stuff they'll do. Well, I was like, "You gotta quit." I was like,
I mean, you're just being honest.
I think actually the world and the U.S. would be a better place if everybody was more honest with their kids.
I was gonna say, yeah, like,
but no, you can't trust everything they do.
Yep.
Like,
that's why Talk Dirt to Me does so well. Because Bobby Lee and I,
Bob's like, "He's 6. You've got to quit doing this." I'm like, "All right, he's 7 now. We can watch it."
we're on the same page. Like, that's why this works so well. Because I'm the same way. I mean, and I
teach him like, "Hey, we respect police officers. Like, they're not out to get us."
But then you show him Rambo, and you're like, "But this is what happens when you have power that's uncontrolled. Like, look at this cop here. What he's doing." Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, no, I had to watch Levi when he was like 3, and I'm telling on myself here. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but we watched the first 4 Friday the 13th.
Oh Lord!
And they're like, and I think I would, when there was boobs or something coming up, I would, cover his eyes. But again, he's like 3 too. I'm like, he don't even know what a titty is.
He sees those as like dinner.
He does, yeah. I mean, yeah, he really does. So I'm like, he ain't thinking about it. He ain't worried about no titties. And like, I would kind of blur the words if I had to, but then he started having terrible nightmares. And he'd come in our bed and he'd be like, "Jason," like, he was like scared. So Marcy's like, why did you think this was like a good idea? Like, so that nixed that pretty quick. Like, but he has seen the first 4 Friday the 13th. And now he did watch Commando with me, and I know I could write the script for Commando. So like, where there was bad language, I would just hit mute, and like, because Arnold would be like, "You son of a," and then it would just be quiet, and Levi, I'd be like, "Don't you read his lips?" So, yeah, man. I don't know. It's fun, man. I'm getting to introduce him to some good films at this point, but probably won't show him no more Friday the 13th for quite a while, because that did bite me in the ass. But that's been a while. Like I said, he was probably about 3. When they're really young, you can get away with watching some stuff because they don't know what's going on.
Oh well, yeah. And now, like, and I know every parent out there with a young kid knows this. Like, you're sitting there on the couch, you're watching something, you got something super boring on the TV. Kids are like running around, they're not paying any attention. So you're like, "All right, I'm gonna catch up on an episode of Yellowstone."
Yeah.
as soon as you start playing it, both kids are sitting there just like staring at the TV. You're like,
gosh dang it.
and so then you cut it back on like something just completely stupid and kids safe, and they get up and they're running around playing with toys. It's like they have like this sixth sense to know when you're watching something they're not supposed to be watching it, and they all of a sudden zone in.
Yep,
Well,
they do.
right, if y'all are just sit here and watch TV, we'll watch kid movies. If y'all are gonna get up, run around, and play, I'm gonna watch something I want to watch.
Yep.
But no, it doesn't work like that.
No, it does not. Yeah, our kids are the same way. Yeah, if the TV's on, because like I said, at night, like today, we didn't even let them turn on the TV. And now tonight they're getting to watch something while Marcy's canning, and I'll get in there. But I think I could turn on a video. I think I could turn the TV on to a channel of a pot of water on a stove that's about to boil, and just to see how long it takes water to boil. And my kids would sit there just to be like, "What you watching?" And to be watching, I'd be like, "It's a pot of water that's about to boil." And they'd be like, "Okay." And they would just want to sit there and watch it. And I'd be like, go away. Let me watch whatever. It don't matter what I'm watching. They're going to be like, what are you watching? So, yeah, I can't ever sneak off and watch anything. I love horror movies. I can't hardly ever watch them no more. The only time I can watch them is when my wife and kids go out of town. And then I get creeped out because I'm home alone. So I can't even watch them then now. So, all right, here we go.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
All right. You got one?
I don't.
You don't?
No. You got one?
I don't know that I do. Well, hold on. There was a company that I saw the other day. Gosh, what was it? Shit, what was it? I got something the other day. It was made in USA, because I was thinking about it earlier tonight, but I was like, maybe Bobby Lee will have one.
Let me double check my list, but I don't.
Damn it, man. I
never know, because every now and then I'll write something, I'll put something on my list because I'm just randomly using something like, hey, look at there, made in USA.
Yeah, but I just saw this the other day. Dang it, what was this? And it was made in USA. It's something that I've used a bunch, and I think I keep meaning to write it down, but I don't write it down. Shit, I don't know. I can't remember. So we'll do this one. Did you try it?
I hadn't, but I'm gonna finish this off and I'll pour one.
Pour a little bit of it. We're gonna give a shout out. We'll do the Filibuster Distillery, because I'm gonna tell you, this is really freaking good bourbon. Like I said, Filibuster Distillery single estate weeded bourbon. I like weeded bourbon, and it's 117 proof on the bang there. It says. I think on the back it said actually
17.1.
Yeah.
58.55%.
Try that. It is good bourbon. Get your palate prepared.
Tell you what, I'll shout out not necessarily so much a company, but a website. Let me go ahead and try it.
Yeah, take a sip of that. That's pretty damn good, ain't it?
It's good. Definitely got some heat.
Yep.
But it is very smooth.
It is, yeah. It's I drank the first.
Definitely heat compared, which my Woodford was kind of watered down too.
And it's probably, what is Woodford, 80, 90 proof?
I think it.
Is it even 90 proof? It may just be 80.
I was wanting to say 90, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's significantly less. But if you're into buying, want to buy beef direct, there's a website called Bid on Beef. Just BID.
Just recently saw that website.
Did you?
Yep.
I'm bad about their auctions all end at like 7 p.m. They don't have one every day. And like I say, I'm out there at the grill. I've had a couple of cold beers.
He's had some cocaine. He's feeling all amped up.
And I'm like, oh, they're about to end. I don't know that I'm one of their best customers. I bet I bought 4 different shipments from them.
Really?
Because if you spend, it depends. And it's different ranches, but you're buying beef direct from them. They some of them, if you spend $300, you get free shipping. Some of them you spend $400, and it's different lots. It'll be a lot of ribeyes, and you bid $16 a pound, and you're probably not gonna get them for that. But it goes on up, and we got some in the mail today.
Really? Is that your
mail? It was FedEx.
Yeah. Is that the first you've gotten?
No. I've got. I think this is actually the 4th time, because one time I was winning a couple of lots. It was like $270, and it's like, it's going to cost me $30 to ship it. It's like a flat $30 shipping, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Or I was like, I could spend just a little more. And so I was like, I'll bid on just a little bit of ground beef. Well, I ended up getting beat for all the steaks, and so I just got the ground beef.
Oh gosh.
I was like, ground beef. I've got a freezer full of ground beef.
You get that.
So anyway, but got some steaks. I'm actually gonna cook. I've got some tri-tips.
Okay.
I'm gonna cook, which I've cooked several already, but that's our plans for the 4th. I'm gonna put. I don't know how many tri-tips I'm gonna put on the smoker. Depends on how many people we have over.
Yeah.
Today I got. A lot of people, the ribeyes go high.
Oh yeah.
But I got like some flat iron steaks and some flank steaks and stuff like that, which I really enjoy those.
Yeah.
They're just not quite as popular, but I'm like, heck yeah. So yeah, get you some American raised beef. If you don't have just a local source right there, or if you're like me, I've got I am my own source. But
yeah,
you go through steaks so fast, so I get on there and buy some steaks. So.
Yeah, there you go. Check that out. Well, guys, we always appreciate y'all writing in, and send us some more listener questions. Reach out to us, and like I said, preferably on talkdirtpodcast.com on the contact page. Just makes it easier to keep up with, where it's all in one spot. So reach out to us on there, and guys, ask that you would leave us those ratings and reviews. Leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, all those things, and share these with your friends as much as you can. Share the word of the show. That's what we need significantly. And what else?
Agzaga.com, your bayonet wrap, your Flexzilla hose pipes or garden hoses, whichever term you prefer, and a billion other good things. Discount code is TalkDirt20, $20 off, $50 minimum order, and free shipping.
Yep.
If you need a little bayonet wrap, like I don't know what else to tell you other than that's the only place to buy it.
Yep. All right, guys. Happy 4th of July. Celebrate your independence like a true Americans that you are.
Hopefully everybody has all their fingers come next week.
I love that meme where it shows the person. It's like, this person has no clue that this is their last weekend with all 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was another one with who's the guy that played Apollo Creed?
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. It's like it was him as Apollo. It's like July 3rd.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It shows like on July 5th, and it's
Happy Gilmore's. What is his name in Happy Gilmore?
Stubbs.
Yeah.
Because he's missing the arm. Yeah. It's like July 3rd versus July 5th.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
That was
True.
pretty good.
That
was
is
pretty good.
All right, guys. Everyone be safe. Catch you next week.
Yep.